Just like Alex, grilling season is back. And while our favorite team reloads, it's your turn to load up the grill with Martin Rosel's, the best meats Connecticut has to offer. Since 1928, Martin Rosel's has been crafting top quality hot dogs, kielbasa, and sausages using original recipes and only the finest ingredients. So as the warm weather returns, remember, both championship teams and great cookouts start with the right lineup. Look for Rosel's at your local grocery store or stop by their retail store in New Britain. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Excited for today's episode. UConn Softball getting ready to go compete in the Big East tournament. So joining me today, we've got Grace Jenkins. So Grace, thanks so much for hopping on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. So we'll look ahead to what's to come later this week in a bit, but I want to start by looking back. So, listeners, everyone can get to know your story a little bit. So, know you're California, born and raised. How does someone from California end up at UConn?
That's such a great question. A lot of people ask that. So when the recruiting process was starting to become a really big deal in high school, my high school coach, Kevin Warren, told me about Coach Valentino, who's the head coach here at UConn, and essentially was like, "Hey, UConn just hired this new head coach. She's really awesome. I've seen her on the recruiting trail. Check out UConn and just see if that's like a school that you would think about going to." So I remember searching up UConn. I know that they were known for basketball, and that was pretty much it. But looking into it, UConn had just recently rejoined the Big East. They were building this beautiful softball stadium and indoor batting complex. And then when September 1st came around in my junior year and I got a call from Coach V, it all just kind of landed into place.
Yeah. I know your sister got to join you here at UConn. How big of a thing was that during the recruiting process? Was that something you guys were looking to go to together?
Yes. So early on in the recruiting process, we were like, oh, yeah, we can maybe go our separate ways. But after going on a few visits, there were certain schools that were just recruiting me or just recruiting her. And we realized that we didn't want to spend the last possible 4 years of playing softball without each other. And Coach V really emphasized that she was recruiting us as a family and individually as well. Like if one of us came here, great, but she really wanted both of us to come. And so yeah, our parents were a little like, wow, you're going all the way across the country, but you guys will be together. So they travel to watch both of their daughters play.
What's it been like just getting to play at such a high level with your sister? It's got to be pretty cool.
It's so cool. Not a lot of people can say that their sister is their teammate, let alone their twin
Yeah.
sister. And then, she's a pitcher and I'm a catcher, right? So that just adds a completely different dynamic to it. It's super cool. It'll be my fun fact for the rest of my life.
Yeah. It's a good
But
one.
yeah, it's a great one. And I think too, like having a sister out there as your teammate, I think only increases the culture of the team as an entirety. And I would hope to say that my teammates really don't think that we're like sisters on the field. We don't bicker a ton, we don't fight a ton. We're just two girls playing softball that just happen to be related to each other.
How does it feel if she shakes off one of your calls?
You know, um, it doesn't happen very often. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, now at this level, our coaches call the pitches, but in high school, we would call our own games,
Yeah.
and it didn't happen very often. Honestly, I can't recall a moment where she would shake off a pitch. I think she just trusted me so much, and there'd be
Yeah.
times where I would call timeout and be like, "Hey, what do you want to throw?" She goes, "You just call something. I trust you." So it's almost like that element. She's like, "I don't want to think out there. I just want to." Be strong on the mound and trust whatever you're going to give me.
Yeah, it's got to be nice having the coaches making the calls because then you're blame free here. Like, hey, I didn't
Right.
call it for you, right? Like,
Right. Well, our rule is that if the pitcher does shake the pitch, I get to start, giving signs. So
okay,
there is a little bit of blame there, but I think the coaching staff has done a phenomenal job. But like, you guys have been playing this sport for almost your entire lives. Like, we
yeah,
trust you in whatever call you decide.
yeah. So when you come to UConn in your first year here, you start playing right away. What was that like for you getting to play right away your first year here?
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking. Looking back, I don't think I realized what a big deal it was to like be an impact player as a freshman. I look at my freshman teammate now, her Kat Pettis, and she has done a phenomenal job as a freshman. But the amount of like just pressure, it being your first year,
Yeah.
yeah, when I immediately started playing, I had a lot to learn, but it was so much fun. And Coach V gave me that opportunity and I just took it and ran with it. So it definitely a dream come true.
I feel like especially as a catcher, just how the game is played, like the role is so important. Like adjusting to that coming from like, high school, how tricky or how much of a challenge was it to adapt quickly to the college game in that role?
Yes, I think physically not that much is different, but mentally there is so much more on your plate. I mean, in high school or in travel ball, you're just, catching the ball and then throwing it back to the pitcher. But now when you get to college, I mean, I meet with my coach once a week to review my framing statistics and how many balls I convert into strikes. And there's video review now, so you have to be really careful with obstruction at the plate. Like there's so many more things that are happening that
Yeah.
didn't happen at the high school level. So physically, there were a few tweaks here and there, but the biggest thing was the mentality. And you're playing against girls that are 4 or 5 years older than you, and you're thinking, "Oh my goodness, what is happening?" But yeah,
As you look through your time playing, what do you think makes for a good catcher?
I think one is you have to be vocal, you have to be loud. And then with that, you have to be confident in what you play. Coach V preaches all the time. She goes, I just want you to make a call. If you make the wrong call, I'll let you know, but I'd rather you say something than be silent. So that's one thing. And then a second thing is to know your pitchers. We have a very crazy pitching staff here. I love all of them. They're so unique and different, but pitchers in softball are known for their unique personalities. So you have to be able to adapt to that. Peyton's on the mound, and then all of a sudden there's a pitching change and Sid's out there. Like there are certain ways that I have to interact with them. And when I call timeout, there's certain ways that I have to talk to them too. Just because, in any other sport, a player is going to react differently in the way that they're talked to, the cues that they need. There's a lot that goes into it. So I would say definitely being vocal and then just having a one-on-one personal relationship with each of your pitchers.
Yeah, I'm curious because to me, catcher has to be like one of the hardest positions in all of sports. What's the hardest part of being a catcher from your perspective?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think the hardest part is the ball is in your hand almost every single play.
Mhm.
And if it's not in your hand, you're the one calling where the ball should go to. So you're constantly involved in every single play. There's not another position on the field that is involved in every single play besides the catcher, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The ball's hit to first base, the left fielder isn't involved. Like I have to be telling the first baseman where to throw the ball. So there's really not, you can't take one pitch off. And at the end of the game, it's like, oh, do your knees hurt? Like, no, like my brain hurts from thinking so much. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, well, my knees hurt just watching what you all do out there. So at least they hurt on someone. I'm curious just how the game has changed a little bit. I know you mentioned like your framing statistics. I know framing has just become a huge thing, across softball and baseball, especially of late. How has the game kind of changed from when you started to play to where it is right now?
Yeah, for sure. I think when you're young, everyone really cares about like throwing out runners, and catching runners stealing, which that is such a fun part of the game, and I love throwing out runners. But yeah, once you get to the college level, because there's video review, people steal less just because you
Mhm.
can review if someone leaves the base early in softball.
Yeah,
So yeah, like my biggest job is to convert balls into strikes or to make strikes look like strikes as much as possible. And I think that that's changed because growing up, in travel ball, framing wasn't really emphasized.
yeah,
But I think once you get to the college level, and I think softball has caught on the MLB the past couple years, you've seen catchers changing their stances,
yeah,
their receiving techniques. It's a newer concept, I think, in the past 10 years, and softball, collegiate softball has taken it really seriously, I think, the past 5 years, in my
yeah.
opinion.
You love your car, but does it love you back? Introducing the Fasten Rewards Visa Card. With the Fasten card, you get rewarded for all your auto-related spending, including monthly car loan or lease payments. That's 3 times points when you shop with Fasten partners, 2 times points on car payments, gas, tolls, insurance, car washes, and 1 times point on everything else. Stack up rewards and turn them into travel, cash, gift cards, maintenance, or even a down payment on your next car. Founded by a UConn fan. Apply now at fasten.cc/apply and buckle up for rewards. The Fasten Rewards Visa card is powered by High Note and issued by Celtic Bank, pursuant to a license by Visa USA Inc. All cards are subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. Rewards are subject to change. Visit fasten.cc/legal for full program details. No, you mentioned the satisfaction of throwing out a runner. I want to transition to talking a little bit about your offensive game, but I got to ask, what's more satisfying, hitting a home run or throwing out a runner trying to steal?
Oh man. Goodness. I did both of those this past weekend. I threw out
Yeah.
a runner and I hit a home run. It depends who the runner is because the runner I threw out this weekend, she's an amazing athlete. She's so fast, and all I wanted to do was throw her out the entire weekend. So like that was satisfying. It doesn't happen as often as I've hit a home run this year. Oh, they're
Very different.
uncomparable. It's like what's prettier, like a bouquet of flowers or a sunset? Like they're
Yeah.
so different. I can't compare. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a
It,
hard question.
I always like asking athletes this. I remember someone submitted for social when I had Alex Caravan on asking like, "Oh, what's more satisfying, like a 3 point like swish or a dunk?" And I'm like, they're both have to be like really satisfying. So I'm sure
Yes.
it's the same on your end.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I mean, your offensive numbers just like through the roof, off the charts. What do you think makes you such a good hitter?
It's not just me. I think it's the coaching staff behind me. Um, I remember after my exit meeting last year, my hitting coach, Coach Max, said, like, what do you want to improve on over the summer? And what do you want to work on when we get back to the fall? And I said, I want to be able to hit an inside pitch and pull it over the right field fence for a home run. And that is a pitch that I had struggled with my first 2 years and came back in the fall, absolutely grinded. And this year, junior year, they're going to try to do something different. And so I started getting a lot more inside pitches and I started hitting a lot of those over the fence. So I think just being able to communicate my goals and my aspirations to my coaches and then them just giving me the tools and the ability to be able to achieve them has helped me tremendously.
I know ultimately the end result yesterday wasn't what you guys wanted, but you came up big at the end there. Just taking the loss aside, just what was that moment like for you?
I was nervous, 2 outs, bottom of the seventh. This is the situation that you practice in the cages, right? It's the situation where, you have one ball left in the bucket and you're like, well, go big or go home. I was just, I was talking to Coach Mack and Coach She before, and she asked me to make just one simple adjustment. And I was like, all right. She's like, do you trust me? And I go, yep. She goes, do this. So I, stepped into the box and first pitch, I saw it big and I took it over the fence. I thought I popped it up at first, but I heard the crowd get really, really loud. And then I'm like, wait, is that ball gonna go? And then I saw it and I started sprinting around the bases because I needed to get to my teammates as soon as possible because I was so excited.
I feel like these past couple of years, like as UConn softball has really grown, like these teams have really just shown like the culture that Coach Valentino's really built for this team. How would you describe it as a player who's been through this program now for a few years?
Yeah, I would describe our culture as we play for each other and we're relentless. Going into this weekend, we were like, I'm playing for you. This at bat is for you. Like, there's nothing about like me. It's all about UConn softball. And coach says all the time, like, we play for the UConn on the back of our jerseys. We don't have our last names on the back of our jerseys. We have UConn. It just goes to show you that this is about a program. It's not about any individual player. And then we're not afraid to call each other out, or we phrase it as we call each other up. So, there are moments in practice where it can get heated. You call someone out, you're like, hey, that's not what we do here, or I think you should have done this with the ball. And instead of getting our feelings hurt, it's like, okay, yes, I got you. I'll get the next one. And I think that has contributed so much to our success is because we're allowed to almost coach each other up
Mhm.
without like the fear or resentment or grudges that sometimes come with that in athletic culture.
Yeah. As you all get ready to play in the Big East tournament this week, how big of an opportunity is this, and how excited are you and the rest of the team to head down to Philadelphia with a chance to make the NCAA tournament?
It's a huge opportunity. It's the 50th year of UConn softball. UConn softball started when Title IX was initiated 50 years ago. So it's awesome to think about what we could do bringing this hardware back to stores. It's been over 20 years. And then, with this past weekend, yeah, it wasn't the result that we wanted, but in sports, the regular season championship really means nothing. The actual championship tournament does. So we're just trying to seize this opportunity. I think we're all super excited. We hate losing. We hate losing twice in a row. And so our goal is to win three and then to come back champions Saturday night.
Yeah, I'll wrap with this one for you. I know Coach Valentino has probably been a big part of your career here. What's it just been like getting to play for her and kind of some of the lessons she's imparted on you?
She is a really positive coach. I think if you come to watch some of our games or our practices, she allows collaboration with the girls. She allows us to talk. Sometimes in practice we'll pause and the team will come together at second base and she'll have us like talk out situations. And I think that that's the best part. It's yes, she's my coach and yes, I respect her, but there's this level of communication where she allows her players and me specifically to come with her with concerns, and then she acts on those concerns too. So that's been an amazing part. I mean, and she also caught in college, so there's that catcher dynamic relationship too. She just has a lot of defensive knowledge, and I think I can say I've grown so much behind the plate from my freshman year to my junior year.
I lied. I've got a couple more. I
No
obviously
worries.
anytime I've got a UConn athlete, I've got to ask, just what's been your favorite thing about being at UConn and being here in Connecticut?
That's such a good question. I've been spoiled because every single year I've been here, there's been a national championship won. I mean, my freshman and sophomore years, the men won, and then
Yeah.
this year, the women won. But I think it's just the championship culture. I've gotten the chance to meet a ton of amazing athletes from all around the world. And you walk into RISA and you see women's soccer and you see baseball, and it's just this vibe and like if you're not wanting to win a championship, like why are you here? Almost like there's this championship culture, there's this vibe, there's this expectation that if you're a student athlete here at UConn, you're pursuing excellence all around.
Yeah.
Women's field hockey had an amazing season this past fall, and then men's hockey too. Like it's just so cool. We're a mid-major school, but I think we make waves in this big ocean of collegiate athletics. Like you can never count UConn out because the student athletes here are just incredible. They're resilient and they want to bring championships here every single year.
And I'll actually wrap with this one for you. We started with you being from California, got to end with it. How have you adjusted to the winters here? Are you a snow fan? Like, have you started to enjoy that kind of lifestyle?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm from Northern California,
Okay.
so I grew up snowboarding, but the difference is like I go up to the mountains, I
Yeah.
go up to the snow, and then I go, I snow down
Yeah.
the mountain and then I go back home where it's not snowing. So the funny thing about stores is that this I don't go to
The
the
snow
snow,
comes to
it
you.
comes
Yeah.
here. So I mean, I've seen the snow, I've grown up in the snow, but living in it is different. I've definitely adjusted to it. I love the East Coast. I'm heartbroken after I graduate. I have no idea where I'm going to end up. I've had the West Coast, the East Coast. Maybe I'll go to the South for a little bit, Midwest. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see wherever my road takes me. But yeah, no, I've grown to love the city of stores in Connecticut in general.
Well, if UConn keeps winning championships while you're here, you're gonna have to stay in Connecticut. It's just gonna
Yes, maybe,
yes. But
maybe.
Grace, I really appreciate you taking some time. I know it's a busy time of year for you, but best of luck to you and the team this week in the Big East tournament. I know everyone here is gonna be pulling for you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughtful questions. It means a
Yeah,
lot.
no. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks.